Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Let's get open for business here, and let's get the football gods awake because we always need the cream of the crop when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. Tom Landry and the 77 Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to Joseph Hartley. Um, Let me let you know this is going to be a little bit of a longer video here because this is a real deal discussion here. And I hope that you stay through it because I'm going to make my argument. And I understand that if you're a Dak Prescott fan, you're going to agree with what I have to say. If you've got it set in your mind that Dak Prescott sucks and he's not the guy, I'm not going to change it. I get that, but I'm going to still put my information out there as to what I believe. And it's funny because I got ridiculed in the first half of the season when I talked about Dak Prescott, and I said, listen, give it time. It's going to take some time for this group of receivers and things to get together. And that he was going through a slump like the rest of the team, and things were going to be better. And everybody, oh no, he's going to be flipping burgers in 2 years. He's a bum. He's Dak trash guy. He's dink and dunk Dak. Can't hit an open guy. But I was just like, give it some time. And I'm going to tell you that last year was the tale of two seasons. And I know people will say, well, it's because he got Amari Cooper. Yeah, that helps. If you have people who can catch the ball, it does help. We went into the season where we were rated as like the 29th worst receiving core in the NFL. It's not like he was Matty Ice with, Calvin Ridley, Sanu, and Julio Jones throwing to, or Big Ben that had Juju Schuster and AB and guys like that, where they have premier talent. You take Amari Cooper off of that list and tell me we had premier wide receivers. Cole Beasley was the only guy really with the pedigree on there. Allen Hurns had one good year, 2 good years back, but was brand new to the situation. It takes time. And don't give me this stuff that quarterbacks just, he can't put a team on his back or can't throw for 300 yards. He'll never be a big player. Okay, we'll get to that part in a bit. But the Dallas Cowboys are doing what the Dallas Cowboys do when it comes to big contracts. And they are playing it into the media. We just saw it with DeMarcus Lawrence because they went through and, they said, well, we thought that we had a deal worked out at the combine where it was going to be a $20 million deal, and now it's 22 and a half, and basically throwing DeMarcus Lawrence under the bus, as well as his agent, David Condon, something like that. But making them look like the bad guys and saying, hey, we're trying to work and everything else. We're trying to pay him and things and yada, yada, yada. But that's the way they do things. They did the same thing, if you remember, with Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant, it was amazing how all these different stories about Dez Bryant came out when it came to be contract time. The police had come to his house 6 times, knocking on his door. Made you think that this was like Law and Order, where they got the SWAT team that are in the bushes and everything else going after him. Then we heard that there was a tape out there that might be 10 times worse than Ray Rice, and so on. So you see how the Cowboys were, and I'm not mad at them, but understand that that's what they do. So with this whole thing at Dak, you need to take a team-friendly deal. We love you. You're our franchise guy. They're negotiating by using the crowd against us. Because you can look right now, there's a lot of fans out there that are pissed off at DeMarcus Lawrence for holding out to get paid. Now, it's your job, when you want to get a raise, and they tell you, sorry, we're not going to give you as much money as the other guy gets. It's okay. You should take the office discount because, you work for us. You're not going to do that. So the question is, what is a team-friendly deal? And where should Dak Prescott go? Because I have people that are asking me, hey, Mark, what do you think Dak should be paid? For me, I look at Kirk Cousins, who's getting $28 million, and Kirk Cousins hasn't done jack. You don't get paid less than Kirk Cousins. Sorry, you don't. And I look at Matt Ryan, who's getting 30, which I think is really overpaid too, but you're not going to say he should get paid maybe more than that. So I say between 28 and 30 is where it should be. And I think most people agree that's where it should be. You probably don't agree if you're not a Dak fan. But I want to play this clip from Speak for Yourself. Because as much as I hate some of these guys, they do make some valid points. Now let's listen to this.
Agree with him. Dak needs to take a hometown discount, and I think they have a lot of leverage over Dak. And so is it smart for them to publicly announce this? I don't think it's necessarily smart, but I think they have so much leverage it doesn't matter.
I think they have a ton of leverage, and it's very smart of them to do it this way. This is the Cowboy way. They have the greatest fan base of all the football teams in this country. Let's just be real about this. It's the greatest. In terms of numbers, in terms of passion, they travel.
Chiefs. I'm sorry.
Man, but boy, stop. I didn't say the loudest stadium. The Chiefs have the loudest stadium, but the greatest fan base. I played for the Cowboys 1 year. Wish I could have did it a little longer because I felt that love. It's different. They talk through the media to their great fan base. Jerry Jones holds a press conference every week in the tunnel, and Stephen Jones is talking to the media and resetting the expectations, but also respecting Dak Prescott. He's resetting them because Clarence Hill went out there and wrote that he's probably a $27 to $30 million quarterback, and the Cowboys want the fan base to know that he's not going to be that. In the court of public opinion, we need you on our side to understand that DeMarcus Lawrence and others are taking all the food, and there's going to be some leftovers for Dak, but it's going to be at a team-friendly deal. And Dak is going to have to respect that because he doesn't have the leverage and the options to go elsewhere.
I mean, we don't know that he won't have options. I don't like the fact that they put this out there publicly. Number one, what is team friendly? Where does that number?
24 million.
20, low 20.
23,
so
24 million.
I said during the season, I thought anything between 22 and 25 was fine. Now they're talking about 25 to 28. If I'm Dak Prescott and team friendly is 25, when I sign.
What up, friend?
When do I sign?
Might be more friendly than that.
And so
maybe 22.
I mean, you gotta. I look at it from this
21.
perspective. Is he better than Derek Carr? You'd say.
Yeah.
What? Derek Carr at $25 million a year. He signed that contract a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Alex Smith is at 23 and a half. You would say he's better than Alex Smith.
Yeah.
You
would? I would.
Yeah, you would. Make sure. Don't say we.
Yeah.
You wouldn't?
You would.
I would.
Understand, as bad as Dak Prescott played the first half of the season, when Alex Smith went down, Dak had more touchdown passes than Alex Smith. Let me say that one more time for all those people that are talking about how good Alex Smith is. Alex Smith had less touchdown passes than Dak Prescott did when he went out, when Dak was playing like garbage.
I would.
What'd you say?
I would rather have Dak Prescott as my quarterback over Alex Smith.
Well, he's hurt right now. You mean
When he's not hurt. When he's
let me scoot over with
When he's not hurt, I would. Yes, I would.
I
Just
hear
be
you.
clear on that.
Now-
That's TJ Hushman's line.
Yes, I would. I would prefer Dak
YouTube
Prescott.
him, not me.
Now, if team friendly, if we talking 24, 25 million, I like that team friendly contract.
What's
if I'm
the
Dak
problem
Prescott.
with them putting it out there publicly, though? Why don't you like that?
It just, for him, it just doesn't. It's like you're telling me I got to take this or else. I don't like that.
I know.
I
I
think
don't
there's
like
a little
that.
risk of just getting his pride engaged and backing him into a corner, and then all of a sudden, he comes out of character and wants to buck against the system. I do think there is some risk in that, but again, I just go back to Dak Prescott has to be smart enough to realize without a supporting cast, man, without a full team, he's not a guy that is getting a big $30 million contract will put too much pressure on him.
But you know what? If he's smart, you'd rather eat a bunch of small meals than one large one.
But
You said that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop this right here because it just hurts watching these guys. The fact that they're employed to talk about football and things. And they do make some valid points and stuff. And I don't agree with the Cowboys' way of negotiating in the media. And that's what the Cowboys are doing. Because in the end, DeMarcus Lawrence ended up taking a $21 million deal instead of a $22.5 million. So they saved themselves a little bit of bank on there and save face, and they look like the good guy, and DeMarcus Lawrence looks like the bad guy. And that's what they do. But here's the thing that you got to go through, because people keep saying he needs to take a team-friendly deal. I didn't hear anybody say that Kirk Cousins should take a team-friendly deal for Minnesota. I didn't hear anybody say Aaron Rodgers should take a team-friendly deal, or that Jimmy Garoppolo should, or Matty Ice should. Now, I understand the reality of it is you want to be able to spread the money around so that way you can have a good team. I agree with that 100%. But fair is fair. And when you start talking about, when he starts saying things like, well, Dak has to have a supporting cast around him to succeed. Well, Matty Ice had a supporting cast around him. How did they do this past year? Aaron Rodgers, you could say he didn't have the best of supporting cast, but was he able to elevate the team into the playoffs? Big Ben, he had a supporting cast around him. Was he able to put his team on his back and take them to the playoffs? Now, here's the thing. Here's what you have to look at. Let's say, hypothetically, I said Dak threw for about 4,440 yards for the season, had maybe 24 passing touchdowns, maybe another 8 rushing touchdowns, and about 6 interceptions. What would you pay that guy for that, if that's what you were getting? 32 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, about 4,500 yards. You'd say, okay, he's probably worth that $29 million, right? You'd say that he's in that category with the Matty Ice, wouldn't you? I mean, realistically, honestly, give me that much at least. Because with Amari Cooper on the team, if we take the season in 2 halves, take the first half, which was bad, new players, new wide receivers, everything and all that. Those first 8 games, Dak was averaging 208 yards a game, 7.2 yards per completion, at 89% rating. 10 TDs, 4 interceptions, 2 rushing TDs. After we got Amari Cooper, some talent. And I'm going to honestly say, you can take all the wide receivers we had on that team, and you didn't have a Pro Bowler among them. I don't think if you put them all together, you would have had a Pro Bowler to throw to. And you can look at our offensive line that had started, La'el Collins is not premier right tackle. Connor Williams was a rookie. Joe Looney was getting his first starting because Travis Frederick was out. Zach Martin was on one leg. So don't give me all this, oh, he had so much talent around him. That offensive line was not the same. And take a look at our tight ends. You went from having a Jason Witten. So give me that much that was not exactly the best of talent to start the season. But the change up on the second half, the only thing that you added to the equation was some time of working with the players, getting rid of Paul Alexander, and adding Amari Cooper. And over the second half of the season, Dak Prescott went from 208 yards per game to 278 yards a game. 70 yards more per game average, and had 2 more touchdowns passing, 2 more rushing touchdowns, and 1 less interception. And his rating went up by almost 14 points. And if you take that half a season, let's just assume that we have basically the same offense the second half of the season that we would for a whole season. Those numbers for a season would end up being 4,444 yards, 24 passing TDs, 6 interceptions, and 8 rushing TDs. It's pretty damn good. Now, here's the thing, the arguments that I hear. Oh, well, Dak Prescott, he can't throw for 300 yards. He can't, carry a team and things. But hold on for a second. I want you to take a look. Because here's the argument, and people are you get stuck on because of fantasy football. Fantasy football has ruined a lot of things and perspective on football. Understand, if you're a team that is losing a lot, you're going to pass the ball more because you're trying to catch up. Understand, if you don't have a great running back like Zeke Elliott, you will pass the ball more because you're not a balanced offense. But getting more yards passing does not always correlate in being a Super Bowl champion. I want you to take a look at Tony Romo here. Let me blow this up a little more, and let me pull this up a little closer here. If you look at Tony Romo, let me see if I can get my pen going here. Okay. If you take a look at Tony Romo's best seasons statistically. 4,903 yards. Damn! Almost 5,000 yards. That's incredible. 28 TDs, but he had 19 interceptions. But that's okay, because he had all those yards. But take a look at his record. 8-8. The year before, 4,184 yards. Fantastic. 31 TDs, only 10 interceptions. But again, 8-8. We always talk about 2014 being his best year statistically. What's interesting is that year he had 3,705 yards. 3,705 yards, 34 TDs, 9 interceptions. I'll give you another one here. Let's look at Drew Brees. Because the problem is we, again, keep thinking that because they threw for a lot of yards, they're winning. But that's not the way it works. Drew Brees, again. Drew Brees, look at this. Oh, let me get my pen going. Drew Brees, 5,069 yards. They ended up 8-8. This one, of course, is a great one. 5,400. They ended up 13-3. But again, 5,170 yards, 77, 43 TDs, 19 interceptions, 7-9. Go back down here. 4,052 yards, 7-9. 4,870 yards, 7-8. 5,008 yards, 7-9. It's not winning football. If you have to throw consistently that much, it's not winning football. And that's where fans keep. It's great if you're fantasy football. You'll win in fantasy football if that's your quarterback. But that's not the way it goes. Now, back to the whole Dak Prescott. Well, he can't put a team on his back and carry them. I mean, he's only had, 2 games where he threw over 300 yards all season? And you looked at some of those games, like I said, I got you. I got you. Because we go through and we look at Tony Romo in 2014, where we say that season was probably Tony Romo's best statistically. And what I want you to take a look at, because the team was winning, because they had a DeMarco Murray and a balanced offense, the amazing thing on the whole season here is right here. 324 yards. 324 yards was his only game over 300 yards that season. Only one. Period. Every other game was under 300 yards on the season. Remember back to that Denver game, that shootout that we lost 51-48, I think it was? It's not winning football. It's hard to win in those shootouts. And that's the way this team is designed, is to be a team that controls the ball, doesn't make mistakes, chews up the clock so there's less opportunities for the other team, and then gets the other team one-dimensional so your defense will be able to pin their ears back and go after the quarterback. Right or wrong, that is the formula for this team. So understand that when we look at Tony Romo's best year statistically, and let me find that number. They don't have it broken down on this one. Okay. Tony Romo's yardage average for that season was 248 yards per game. It's about what Dak actually had last year. I'm not saying that Dak Prescott has got the deep ball down as good as Tony Romo already, but you're looking at a guy who right now has better statistics than Russell Wilson did after his first 3 years. And let's go back to Dak Prescott. For all those that say that Dak can't carry a team, understand that Dak Prescott had more yardage last year than Tony Romo did in 2014. And I'm not saying this to say anything bad about Tony Romo, but people have a tendency to put Tony Romo as the gold standard. But understanding that Tony Romo's best game that season was 324 yards, you do know that we had this game, that we had this game right here, Philadelphia, which ended up being a shootout, which ended up in that fourth quarter and overtime being we had to score big time. And he threw for 455 yards, 3 TDs, and won the game under pressure. Understand this game right here against the New York stinking Giants that Zeke Elliott didn't play in. 387 yards, 4 TD passes. Now, I know the Giants suck, but the whole philosophy is he can't win without having people around him, or he can't throw and put the team on his back and actually win a game throwing the football. Didn't he do that twice last year? So again, I ask you, as I look through and I see Kirk Cousins cough up games and lose them, as I see Matty Ice go through and throw away basically a Super Bowl victory, as I see Aaron Rodgers implode a team, as I go through and see how the whole Steelers situation just got butt ugly, as I look at see what the Redskins paid Alex Smith, or Minnesota paid Kirk Cousins, or San Francisco paid Jimmy Garoppolo, what is the number that Dak Prescott should be paid? As a 3-year starter who's been in the playoffs twice, who's won their division twice, who was Rookie of the Year, who has 14 game-winning drives, and hasn't missed a game due to injury. At some point, you need to come back over and get to reality and forget about all the nonsense that you hear, because you have a jaded view of what this quarterback does. There was a great clip, and I wish I had found it earlier, I meant to, of Pat Mahomes having a guy who literally had 10 yards between him and the defender in the end zone and overthrew him by a mile. And that's the kind of play that will stick in your memory as a Cowboy fan. If you see that one time, oh, Dak Prescott can't hit a guy. He missed the guy wide open, and you're going to think that that's every play. But reality, it's not. So I look to hear from all the haters that say I'm an idiot, and that's fine. And I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. But one last final thought here. The great thing about being an American is you can choose to do and watch what you want to watch. I'm not the only YouTube channel out here. There are lots of them. And if you don't enjoy what I do, or if you feel that what I'm putting out there is not the facts, I invite you, because as an American, you can do this. You can make your own channel, and you can put out there your own facts or how you see it. And that way, you don't have to watch me. As always, guys, thank you for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. I'll see you soon.